today. He tried to turn it into a political rally. Erica was trying to get hugs from him. He was completely shut down. All of that. It was disgusting. Like,
why did you even watch?
I totally agree, though.
It was horrific. It was so awkward.
He could not. That hug I was watching. I was like, man, he has. I think that's just the way Trump is. He doesn't. I'm not justifying it. What I'm saying is, you could just tell he has no emotional intelligence per se. He is.
I was gonna say,
agreed.
With all due respect, I actually didn't watch.
That's fine that you didn't watch, but what we're talking about is what actually happened, and what actually happened is that Trump went on for an hour political speech and tried to follow, and I literally said to my husband, Trump's following Erica. There's no fucking way he's going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And he proved me right that he has no social, emotional skill to actually handle a situation like this. And it was a fucking disaster.
Let me ask you a question, though.
Guys,
let me ask you a question. Hold on a second. I know who he is. God damn it, dude. Stop being an autist. Just get. I know you can't help your autism, but just stop your autism for at least while you're in my room.
It's being cured tomorrow, by the way. We're told today it's being cured tomorrow. Autism will be.
But when it comes to, and I'm not the one who moved you down. I will say this. I do wonder though, because here he is. He's at a public event. He is the president of the United States. Somebody else has to invite him up, because I already did it twice. He is the president of the United States, and he is making a address. I get it. It was kind of, I didn't know how to feel about it, but it's like, as a president, is he supposed to kind of give a political speech? I don't know. He's not. I obviously didn't think.
No.
I didn't think he was going to give one.
Nobody else.
And if he did, I don't think he was going to be the great uniter. I think he's going to, humble brag and talk trash like he always does. But
I'm so glad you said that.
To be completely honest, it was a complete misstep of a beautiful day, honoring Charlie and what he did and what he stands for, and bringing people to the idea of being a man and getting married and having a family to progress the American idealisms. That was what the day was. And Trump came in and he literally tried to turn it. Oh my God, it was so horrific. And then whenever Erica tried to hug him, he kept on almost pushing her off. It was really awkward.
He didn't push her off.
Yeah, he didn't do that.
You know what?
I
agree with
embrace her. He didn't did he embrace her?
I agree with you in part. I feel like, I don't think it was as bad as all that. I think he did say a lot of good things about Charlie Kirk. And he said about him being an Eagle Scout and all this stuff. And a lot of it was about him. But two things I didn't like. One was him starting to talk about Maha and the announcement he has tomorrow and all this stuff that has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk, but then he tried to tie Charlie Kirk in by he would love it. And then the other thing I didn't think he should go last. Erica Kirk, hers was so beautiful and so well-spoken. And a third thing I didn't like, just one last thing. I didn't like how he's like, I hate my opponents. And I'm just kind of right after Erica's speech, when she literally was saying the answer is love. But
you don't think that was a good thing? Because he's being correct. At least he's being honest.
No. She came up and she forgave her husband's killer on live televiation.
That's because she's a beautiful Christian. But Trump's not.
That's okay.
Bro, the TPS in this room is wild.
It is wild. On both.
I do. I love. Hey, I'm a Trump supporter, and I think he missed an opportunity.
No, Trump made me laugh. I liked it. I think there were things I didn't like, and I don't think he should have gone last.
Well, I actually think that he should have gone last, and the reason being is he's obviously all eyes are going to be on him. But of course, all eyes. The people I was looking forward to speaking were going to be Erica and And Trump did disappoint with his delivery, but I would say Erica, she seems like a very, she seems like a good-hearted woman. I know very little about her.
Yeah, also, what the fuck are you guys talking about? I mean, Charlie Kirk literally fucking cried in the 24 election when Trump was called his presidency. If it wasn't for Trump, there would be no fucking turning point. If it was fucking, Romney running again, there would be no fucking political movement behind the whole.
Beaver, you also have that completely
the
reversed.
greatest fucking fanboy of Trump.
But that's a fair.
There wouldn't be a Trump 47 if it weren't.
No, I agree. I agree, and that's why Trump had to go last, and that's why it was okay that if Trump wanted to talk for fucking 5 hours.
It was a really bad.
And Charlie Kirk, if he was alive, would have been standing in the fucking audience, clapping to everything that Trump was saying and cheering.
But I would say this though. Okay, you have he is a fucking windbag, all right, and like, of course he would have taken all of the steam out for the most emotional part, which. In succession, you had a bunch of people who at least either somewhat knew him to people who knew him well, and you kind of they all went through it. Then you have Trump doing his Trump shit. I think that would have been, just like, that would have just thrown a wrench in everything if Trump went before.
Yeah, but he's not known to be a fucking emotional guy.
Obviously, that's why.
Real quick.
She should have gone before Erica.
Hey, girls, women on the stage, have y'all ever been on a first date? And it's like it didn't go very well, and he comes and gives you a hug. Like that was
Trump. That was so
Bella,
the
what
side hug. The side hug to the widow. That he's got it. He's got it
better than the creepy shit.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah, he gave her a full on hug.
He hugged her, and he hugged her.
Hold on. But he gave her a full-on hug at first. Hold on. Because I remember, because I was watching it. He gave her a full-on hug at first, and then he kissed her on the cheeks like 4 times. I remember I was like, oh, he's doing it again.
I want the full
he did the cheek kisses. And then...
the full frontal hug.
So we got.
I do have a question. Can I just chime in? I want to know, why do we expect Trump to be anything more
than what Trump
than
is
himself?
Amen. I agree.
So the thing I was going to mention is that, Charlie Kirk's wife, and Trump, I guarantee, had he said, hey, I'll go before you and you go last, she would have fucking said, no, Mr. President, you go last.
That's right. She
110%.
She was the one that wrote how this funeral service.
Yeah, I was about to say it. This was obviously these people. First of all, and I do think that when it comes to the people that we're putting all of this together, they have a lot more experience than we do. When it comes to planning these kinds of events where you have speakers, I'm sure this was incredibly deliberate. And I think
Charlie would
as soon as Trump started speaking, I felt like he wrote the somber, emotional feeling I was getting throughout the whole thing. It kind of just went, and so that's why I think it's good it ended on her.
All right,
No,
let me jump in here.
That's the problem.
Look, it's ridiculous to think that a sitting president would not be the keynote speaker at any event. Turning Point Action is a political event
for Trump.
It's not just for Trump.
Yeah, it is.
It's not.
Dude,
really.
shut up. It's a Republican, conservative one.
Yeah, it's not for Trump. Turning Point isn't for Trump, but this was a political event. This was all about galvanizing Christians. You got to understand that these people work in politics. So when Trump gives his explanation of when Charlie was shot, he ended his meeting in the Oval Office with some very powerful people. That was an insight, a little bit inside of how influential Charlie was in politics. Look, I think y'all are being a little too hard Trump. I thought you tied it in very well.
Isn't that all right?
Look, we've heard you, Bella. We've heard you. Let me finish. All right. I think Trump tied it in very well when he did raise political talking point, tying in Charlie and how influential Charlie was in their, being a person builder or people builder, as Trump said. He was responsible for mending the relationship between him and RFK Jr. He was the first one that told Trump about J.D. Vance, and I think exposing this at a political event was proper to.
Yeah, Joe, I agree with you. I think it ended with levity, and so that's good. I just didn't like everything he said, and I guess I would disagree with you somewhat because I think his funeral isn't a political event. It's a funeral for him.
Susanna, do you think Charlie would have wanted it to be?
We need this to be clear. This was not a funeral. There was a private funeral.
Yep.
It was not open to the public. This was a memorial. However, it is a political event. Okay, it's Turning Point's political event in remembrance of Charlie Kirk. And look,
it's a memorial.
If you're going to continue on with his message in politics, you're going to turn his memorial into a political message. And like it or not, it's all about galvanizing Christians.
And Charlie
right
would
now.
have loved it, Joe. That's the thing.
So I do see Abraham is on the stage. I'm guessing he's more than willing to point out something that Charlie Kirk said was wrong. Abraham, do you have something, being the black scholar that you are, anything that you could point out that he said that was wrong? Mr. Abraham. Guess not. All right.
Abracadabra.
If I can adjust the title.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's why you came in here. Sure.
Yeah. So one of they says, can you point out anything Charlie Kirk said that was wrong? Absolutely. And for one, I'll point out when a young black child asked him the question and said that, hey, I heard you want to repeal the Civil Rights Act. He said, no, that's a lie. I never said that. And he pointed at the little boy and put his finger in his face and said, I said it was a mistake. And then he walked off, which I found to be incredulously disgusting and offensive and unnecessary. He could have expounded more to the young man, but he didn't.
Why is
He
that
just
offensive?
stuck his finger in his face and walked off. And him being against the Civil Rights Act is disgusting, right?
Why is it disgusting?
But do you know the?
Hold on, David. To be against something that made Black Americans full citizens of this country and remove the barriers that have for generations taken away our rights as citizens in order to be able to participate in the fullness of what it is to be an American citizen, to which the birthright that was guaranteed to us.
Okay, all that jazz. Okay, sure.
Absolutely. And,
sure.
and using the woke right. Using the woke left as an excuse on why the civil rights movement was a mistake is amateur and quite disingenuous.
Sure, but I haven't made that argument yet. So, but what I'm curious about is that amazing. And so when you have, the Civil Rights Act, do you remember why, like, for example, when the New Right was really starting to get into motion? See, I kind of more or less favored the old, the paleo conservatives that came before Barry Goldwater. Damn it, David, you're drunk and you're just fucking like, how can I shit on Pepe's stage? Like while he's fucking talking, like, Jesus Christ. Now,
poor you, buddy, poor you.
So I would just say, holy shit. So, okay, we'll just start with the New Right Republicans, they were not this. They didn't really have that kind of ideological lens. They were against the Civil Rights Act for a reason. Do you know what it was?
By what they at the time, I forgot his name. He ran for president during the
Barry Goldwater.
What was Goldwater Republicans? Their argument was that it violated states' rights.
No, there's another one. That's not why they were against
conservatives had made for the last 60 years.
No, these are the New Right. No, this was the New Right. See, he was a lot different from
for the last 60 years. It's been because the civil rights movement violated states' rights.
No. It was because what they first saw is that with the Civil Rights Act, you were going to start seeing things like quotas and they were like staunchly against it, understandably so. And so, what you did get was affirmative action, and you did in a way get like quotas, which basically you're gonna have people like what the fuck is his name, Jesse Jackson and his Rainbow Coalition, and they're gonna say you ain't gotta have enough brothers working in your company, so you need to write out this check $200,000. We gonna go ahead and give you your employees the best training program available, so you have more black folks. And that's basically like, and it basically people had to try to quote unquote get fill a quota system for a lot of people. So he was right.
Charlie Kirk's argument, and a quota system once again is disingenuous because the Supreme Court ruled that quota systems were unconstitutional, and they were outlawed in more than 33 states.
That's not true.
That is very true. It was actually rendered unconstitutional by the Supreme Court in 1990, sir. The Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional.
You're wrong on that.
No, I'm not wrong. It's a fact.
You are wrong.
They rendered quota systems unconstitutional.
Abraham, so I didn't see the one where he points at a kid and says it's a mistake, but I saw at least two others, maybe three,
It's like an 18-year-old
where he talked about the civil rights thing, and his argument about it was he said that the intent was good, that he agreed with it wholeheartedly. That he agreed with it wholeheartedly, but the reason why he had an issue with it is because we were broad, and it did things like, for instance, today people are declaring the Civil Rights Act and saying, you need to ask for, we shouldn't have voter ID because the Civil Rights Act, and that's prejudice if you ask for voter ID. I don't think it's prejudice to expect someone to have voter ID just because of the color of their skin or not the color of their skin. Everybody should have voter ID. I don't think that's a big deal.
This is the disingenuousness of conservatives, the disingenuousness of conservatives when they make that argument. So Title II of the Civil Rights Act to make sure that states didn't put on undue process on people as a means of discrimination. So what conservatives have done in conservative states is they'll say things like, we're requiring ID, but what they do is in predominantly black counties where there's one
that's not
DMV.
true.
So you don't even know what I'm saying. You just automatically saying it's not true.
All right, hold on a second. So I did. Where'd she? Oh, there she is. Serendipity. You said you wanted to play a clip. Is it like related to this?
Yes.
Yeah, you can play it. That means everybody has to shut the fuck up. Go ahead, Serendipity.
All right.
Had to say about the Civil Rights Act. If you had the opportunity, you would get rid of the Civil Rights Act? No, I think you should have a one-page bill that says that racial discrimination based on race is illegal and will not be tolerated in the United States of America. Most black Americans don't support men and female sports. Would you agree? Yeah, I know. No, for sure, right? Believe it or not, the Civil Rights Act is now being used to keep men playing in women's sports. So the Civil Rights Act was used to help Black America originally. Totally get that. But now the way it was written is that any claim of identification, someone says, I'm a woman, therefore I can compete in your volleyball team, they come in a civil rights claim. And so what we're saying is, no, it should be specified to racial, not gender, or all that other stuff. And there were all these other provisions as well. Now, do you get it?
That makes sense to me.
Man in the cookie jar, bro.
Reigned racial discrimination was in our system. It took Title II and other parts of the Civil Rights Act, just those things. So it just couldn't have been one statute, one simplistic language and statute.
No. Mr. Black Scholar, no. See, this is bullshit. Okay. What has been used, and so this is kind of why the Supreme Court, and this is what I love about the Supreme Court, is that they had to, of course, under the threat of perjury, they have to, or the penalty of perjury, they have to make sure that they provide all of their facts. And we did see that there was, in fact, racial discrimination that was actually occurring. So Barry Gold, even though I didn't entirely agree with them, he was 100% correct. What you saw were, especially at the expense of Asian students, you were African Americans or were given slots at Harvard. and whites also were being affected by it, but this was to benefit blacks. So there was absolutely racial discrimination that was occurring. I don't see how you can. The facts were bared out in the Supreme Court. You can't really deny that.
I don't know what you mean. I'm talking about what Charlie Kirk just said. Charlie Kirk said there should have been simplistic language. You don't discriminate, and I'm saying that the
Amazing.
racial discrimination in the United States of America was ingrained and.
But how would it be ingrained? But how would it be ingrained if he said there's no? But if the law said you can't have racial discrimination, it should be very clear and
because there were things that there were state statutes, local and city statutes.
Yeah, but that would end up
those things.
Yeah, but that would end up basically saying.
No, it wouldn't.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Because if it was racially discriminatory, the law would strike it down.
No,
So you're wrong.
The law doesn't work that way. Federal law, simplistic language does not address state statutes, city statutes, or local statutes. And so if the law is that vague, then people aren't going to follow it.
Okay. So, but I'm just curious though. So, if they don't follow simple language in federal law, they're somehow going to follow laws that are I guess very detailed. But why would it matter if it's federal law?
Are going to argue that those federal statutes don't apply to them.
Okay, tell me how. No, hold on a second. No, that's not how it works. Hold on a second.
That is excellent.
No.
Understand how
Okay, Mr. Black Scholar. Mr. Black Scholar. Here's the problem: is that if the language is very simple, okay, you cannot discriminate based on like whatever protective class. Now, if you were to show that you were discriminating against somebody, you're violating law. Like, what more details do you need?
According to your logic, how many amendments to the Constitution are there?
There are many. I don't have the exact number off the top of my head. I'm just being honest. I didn't go to law school or anything.
Simple. According to your logic, if the law is as simple, then why can't just one amended, to not even amended, why one simple a statement in the Constitution is enough? That should be enough.
Well, okay, but that's stupid. That's stupid logic. That's dumb logic.
That's not how it works.
That is dumb logic because the Constitution. Okay, no, bad scholar.
No,
answer my question.
I can answer.
But you're wrong.
Okay, it's really quick. I'll let somebody else go. But it's really simple. Okay, our Constitution is not based around race. It's literally like there's searches and seizures, a right to own firearms.
Not race.
Right. Amazing. All right, shut the fuck up, Scholar. I understand you're a hood scholar, and so you got the facts and receipts.
Not race, the law.
Okay, hold on.
Wait, Abraham, you're saying, right, like that there needs to be more amendments and so on and so forth. In a way, to me, listening to you, it sounds like you're in agreement with Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk's criticism of it is that it was too broad and people were using it for all kinds of things. And he was saying that the intent was great.
There should have been one description in law passed by Congress, and that says there should be racial discrimination.
No, that's not how the law works.
He didn't say there should have been any adjustments.
That means you're a bad lawyer.
He said it should have been.
Okay, guys. We need to do a test. Okay, because David has a lot to say. He's got it wrong. So we're going to see. Okay, give your best, answer that you can. Try to sound as sober as you can. Just go ahead and please tell him why he's wrong.
Everyone, for the record, everyone's fine. Let's all be nice. There is some person, I'm not going to name names, but there's somebody in this room who is trying to be somebody who understands law.
Amazing.
But they're wrong.
Yeah, but I'm asking you to prove that person wrong, why they're wrong. Not to say they're wrong because they're wrong.
If said person wants to talk to me about why But
you were trying to talk to them on a public stage, so just address them here.
Okay, well.
Okay, David, you're being a little impulsive, wanting to speak, and you're a little drunk, so, you kind of shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you should shut the fuck up.
Okay, whoa, first of all, don't say the F word. If said person wants to talk to you about law, I'm willing to debate that, but as of right now, when he's yelling at...
How many amendments are there? David,
when that person,
David, how many amendments are there?
1 second. When that person is yelling at,
when I told David to shut up, all the smiley faces looked like a constellation of stars.
Okay, Abby said there was 27 in the chat, so I just said 7. I don't even know what the 27th amendment is. I just don't know. I didn't have to go to law school or take a bar exam. I don't know.
Okay, if there's somebody who wants to,
David, but you're trying to jump in to say a lot. But let's go back to the conversation.
I'm willing to defend Pepe. Obviously, if it's anybody who has like a law degree who's willing to debate me,
there's people in here that have law degrees, but it's fine.
So then,
my friends close and our Jewish attorneys closer.
My point to you, sir, is
for the record, I'm not Jewish.
If we're going to use Charlie Kirk's logic, that all you need is one simple language, and that language says that it's against the law to discriminate against people of any race, and that's all the language that is needed to simplify, to rectify. Hold on, sir. To rectify the racial discrimination against Black people and Black people not being.
But you're saying rectify. So hold on a second. Okay, David.
Counselor.
I'm only going by what Charlie Kirk said.
Okay, but I actually agree with Charlie Kirk's argument to an extent. See, when it comes, if racial discrimination is wrong, it means you can't. If you're an employer, if you're a school, if you're like wherever, you cannot racially discriminate, and so that's pretty clear, cut and dry. Now, can you tell me? No. What it is about? Okay, hold on.
This was about status. This was the point of the Civil Rights 1965 Act. It was about bringing Black Americans into proper status, right? Because Black Americans were not in proper status. They were considered full citizens.
Okay.
It's legal to
David, please stop.
It was legal to discriminate against us based off of our race.
Don't say us. Us is not appropriate. Like as an attorney, like the way when you say.
Okay, between the two of you, like, holy shit.
This dude talks every time.
Counselor, you're wrong. You're wrong. The way you said that, is wrong.
We don't have effective arguments.
No, hold on. I think there's an effective argument not discriminate. Now, what you want to see is your strong Black.
You racially discriminated.
Discrimination.
Ziggy, stop being a faggot. Ziggy, stop being a lefty faggot. I'm not hiring or firing or enrolling people in school. Okay, so you can pray for me all you want. I don't have hate. Now, here's the thing. Amazing. Shut your faggot mouth, please. Now, holy shit. Now, I think that you want your Black strong brothers and sisters to have, the best leg up, that you by any means necessary. And I know you're pro reparations.
Stop, Pepe. You're trolling.
I'm not trolling. I'm actually being dead serious. Like you guys want the best for your people. You want to see Black people elevated and even reach the top, which I'm not going to say is like necessarily something that I think all groups kind of want that. So I'm not going to knock you for it. But I don't see this about justice. I don't see this as justice. I see this as you wanting a leg up and a fucking handout. And that's why you're trying to justify this bullshit. And I actually think that's why the Black community, in a way, I do think that the most ethno-narcissistic racial group in the United States is clearly African Americans. Yeah, and because of our history, we've allowed you guys to just go on and on and on and bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch and make excuses for everything. Whereas there's no other ethnic group that's really, Native Americans were treated pretty badly and they still kind of do it. but they're not like you guys. And it's just like, I think it's almost like that's why you guys didn't grow up. Just have all of these fucking problems.
So, Pepe, what you don't understand is I don't leg up over any other American. I want what the Constitution promised every other American.
It didn't promise affirmative action.
That's what my answer is.
Yeah, but it didn't promise affirmative action in the fucking Constitution.
The affirmative action was rendered non-constitutional. Quotas were rendered non-constitutional by the Supreme Court. Again, I want as much as the government guarantees. So when you talk about 1964 Civil Rights Act being a mistake, you cannot be disingenuous by bringing up things like quotas when you know that was rendered unconstitutional.
No, they literally had quotas. We had affirmative action.
You can't say things like, well, simple language like...
Abraham, are you saying that you disagree with the Supreme Court being the supreme law of the land?
No, I'm saying...
So you're okay with that?
You can't be disingenuous by stating...
It's not disingenuous. We literally had... No, we've had decades. No, we've had decades. No, bullshit. Bullshit.
Considering that in the law...
Okay, bullshit. We literally had fucking decades. We literally had decades of affirmative action. We're unqualified people. We're taking the slots, okay, of qualified people that were white or Asian. This literally was a thing. It's been proven. We all know it. And then what's really funny is that you racial justice warriors have the audacity to say, well, how racist is Charlie Kirk to wonder if there's a black surgeon or a black pilot, if he's qualified. Yeah, nobody would have that fucking question if there wasn't a such thing as affirmative action. If the same requirements were held standard across every race, you wouldn't have those questions. But because we know there clearly is not, okay, I'm generally going to be a little bit more comfortable with some European last name doctor, a Jewish last name doctor, an Asian last name doctor. Why? Because I know they had to jump through the hurdles. Whereas Mr. Jefferson, who became a surgeon, I don't know. I can't trust that he's actually as competent as his credentials say he should be.
It's a really good point, that
rant you're having. The facts,
but it's an accurate rant.
It was rendered unconstitutional.
Affirmative action took place, and it has taken place for decades.
60 years, what the last 60 years conservatives have been arguing is nothing to do with quotas. What conservatives have been arguing is for the past 60 years is that the Civil Rights Act violated states' rights. Now, Charlie Kirk...
That wasn't the argument, you stupid fuck. That was not the goddamn argument.
Even argue quotas, right? Charlie Kirk...
Where did Charlie Kirk say that the Civil Rights Act violated states' rights? He never made that fucking argument. I'm not even talking about Charlie Kirk's arguments. Charlie Kirk was actually a fucking gentleman. He would say some of the deleterious effects that ended up happening as a result of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, where all of a sudden you had what, like, overwhelming majority of people. I'm not the one muting you, by the way. You had the overwhelming majority of people, the black people. They were married, they had intact families. The crime problem was not nearly as bad as it ended up being within one fucking generation. Okay, in the 80s and 90s. Okay, it was absolutely it did have some bad effects on the fucking black family. Like, you can't fucking deny that.
I just want to applaud Matt.
He didn't like the fact that the Civil Rights Act was being expanded to other groups. That's what came out of his mouth. So he didn't like the fact that the LGBTQ community, as well as the trans community, asked for the Civil Rights Act of 1964, as well as the 14th Amendment, to be expanded to them. He had a problem with that. I've heard him say it a million times. And all I'm saying to you is Charlie Kirk said that is wrong. His surmise is disingenuous and it's rooted in white supremacy. This is the argument that the right has been making for the last 60 years. is that the Civil Rights Act should have never happened because it violates states' rights and it extended rights to other groups that they find irreprehensible, that they don't like, that they find morally objective.
Well, we have a lawyer in the audience, and she did, kind of just shit on your whole thing about affirmative action not being a thing. Well, I invited her up earlier. She can come up if she wants.
I invited her too, and the messages she said that she's on the phone, and that's why she can't talk right now. But hopefully, she'll be off the phone soon.
So, with Abraham, do you think him not wanting the 14th Amendment and the Civil Rights Act to be expanded to like trans people? Do you think that's indicative of white supremacy?
Yeah.
Or do you disagree with it? That's a better question. Do you disagree with it at all?
I wouldn't have an issue with that, but to say that it was a mistake and it shouldn't have never happened, yes, I think that's indicative of white supremacy. And not only that,
how is it indicative of white supremacy when it's about gender?
Human being, that Dr. King was a terrible person.
He is actual. That is a fact. He was an actual piece of fucking shit. He was actually a lot more radical than he let on. And he is somebody that would, the FBI files being released on him. He did a lot of, he was a gross person. And I would say, I'll compare him to a white guy, like, hold on, wow, I'll compare him to a white guy like Bill Clinton, who's, by the way, he's been accused of rape several times, and who it's my understanding, was getting head from Monica Lewinsky, a Jew, while talking on the phone with Yasser Arafat. I mean, amazing. You can't make this shit up. And so, he was a philandering womanizer, very bad person. He was definitely no. Dr. King I would say, he did not have the behavior of a good pastor. He definitely did not. He's not the same people made him out to be.
I was going to say Zacharias.
Part of it too was dipping into socialism, and that's the stuff Charlie Kirk was talking about too. So
he was a socialist.
Yeah, he has reasons behind his criticisms of Martin Luther King Jr. It's not just because he was a black leader who helped black people. That wasn't why he didn't like Martin Luther King Jr.
Abraham, you're asking me, bro.
Hold on, let's go.
Real quick, Abraham, if you ever watched the movie Malcolm X, like even Spike Lee knew it. That's why that part when the FBI was tapped into Malcolm X's hotel room and he was talking to his wife. In that little clip, that little segment of the movie, the FBI agent said, damn, this, what do you say, Dr. King or Martin Luther King makes this guy look, King makes this guy look like a saint. So everybody knew what the fuck MLK was up to. He was not really a moral guy behind the scenes. Second thing.
What evidence?
What's that?
Zero evidence. What evidence?
What I'm saying is that's why they put that little small excerpt in that movie. That was a little jab.
Evidence do you have?
Abraham, we're actually intellectually honest because we can say the same thing about Robbie Zacharias.
There is no evidence that Dr. King was philandering. There's no evidence that you can provide other than anecdotal that he committed any crime.
He was observed, literally, he was observed with a bunch of men. Bullshit. He was observed with a bunch of men. No, you were, okay, I understand that you're ride or die for your people, but he was observed. He was observed with these women, like, getting freaky in front of these men. And then he ended up taking one of the sex toys and inserting it in her and showing her how to do it. Like, I'm sorry, but this is not a man of the Lord. I mean, no offense. Jesus would be like, he wouldn't say, hold on. He wouldn't be like, let me show you how to handle thou dildo. Here, my sister. Like, that would not happen. Like, this guy is a creep.
Right. We're going to go by this moral standard that Dr. King, because let's just say for a moment he was getting ahead from white women, right? If we're going to go by that, then let's look at the founding fathers, right? Let's look at their moral standards.
We're okay with saying that they were doing that shit too.
No, because that's a lie. Because one thing about the right is when you talk about the evilness of the founding fathers, they start to virtual signal and talk about what great men they were, and how they were divinely chosen by God, and how God had ordained them and had anointed them. When we talk about Jefferson and the fact that Jefferson was raping,
Mr. Jefferson, you can't say rape. That wasn't fair. You can't say that.
Was forcing a girl into sex.
You can't say that.
To which he fathered 5 children with.
Okay, Sally Hemings, amazing. Go ahead and say.
Yeah, so let me finish. Abraham, please let me finish.
What is the moral standard behind
Abraham, let this black man speak.
That's a doctor.
This is crazy. So Abraham, the difference is we can separate the two. We can say in this department, yeah, he was a piece of shit, but then he also did good things. With Martin Luther King, Abraham, can I finish? Can I just finish, bro?
Matt Deeper on it, bro.
So Abraham, the difference is when it comes to MLK and his bullshit, you guys want to totally deny it. It's okay to say, hey, in this arena, MLK was a great guy, but then in this arena, he was a piece of shit. But my second point I wanted to make was that I had a room the day before yesterday, and I played a clip. Malcolm X was on record for being against the civil rights movement. He wasn't in approval of it. He said, quote, that the Constitution was enough. You don't need a civil rights movement. It's fucking overkill, and it's not going to change shit. So
he was a.
What's that? Go ahead.
So listen, he didn't believe that the Civil Rights Act was going to work. That's why he didn't support it. And again, you have no evidence to the claims that you make against Dr. King. That's the difference. We know that.
Hold on, you got to answer his question. What else did he say? What else did he say? Abraham, answer the question. Abraham, you have to answer the question. What else did he say?
Don't just take that little soundbite. What else did he say alongside that? Because I just played the clip in front of a room full of people the day before yesterday. What else did he say besides that?
Beautiful. He was a black nationalist. He didn't believe that it was going to work. He didn't believe that it would give black people the full capacity and rights in this country that we deserve.
And what did he say alongside that? He said we already have the Constitution, and all they had to do was follow. Enforce the Constitution. And he criticized the fact that desegregation was ruled on by the Supreme Court in the 1950s, and 10 years went by, and they didn't fucking enforce the ruling. He said if all they had to do was enforce the Constitution, there's no need for a fucking Civil Rights Act because it's not going to change nothing, brother. So he was on the same boat as me.
That was the problem, because what you had in America, and this is what he was
just got bodied, bro.
And this is why I say that he was being disingenuous, was because you had the Dred Scott case that literally said that no white man was compelled to respect the Negro or the rights of the Negro. So that was the issue in the Civil Rights Act. Even though you had a Civil Rights Act of 1870, which is what he was talking about, obviously it didn't work because you had generations and over a century of racial discrimination and black Americans not being considered full citizens. So you had to have a Civil Rights Act in order for us to rectify the status of black. So then, so if that's not true, then why?
All right, Matt Beaver, go back to.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. If you're saying that 1870, since the 1870 Civil Rights that was passed, right? Are you telling me in 1870, why then you have over 100 years of racial discrimination in America where black Americans were not allowed to vote, and it was legal according to city-state statutes to discriminate against black Americans because we did not have proper persona status according to the.
And that was Malcolm X's point, is that the Constitution renders all men created equal. And that was his point. If you just
Abraham,
you just shut the fuck up for 2 seconds. I literally let you cut me off and I shut up so you can finish. So again, this is why he said that the Supreme Court, this is what he said, the highest court in the land ruled on the interpretation of desegregation and ruled it unconstitutional. 10 years went by, actually more than that, because you still had schools in the 70s that were just being desegregated. So that was his complaint, was that the Supreme Court already ruled on it. It's not being enforced. All we got to do is enforce the Constitution and the Supreme Court rulings. There's no need for a fucking Civil Rights Act. That's quote exactly what he said, and that was his.
Court did not rule on anything. The Supreme Court ruled in the Dred Scott case, sir. This is how I know you don't know our history, American history. The Supreme Court ruled that no white man is compelled to respect the rights of the Negro. So there had to be a remedy to that. There had to be a remedy to what the Supreme Court had ruled on. Now, it took an act of Congress to remedy that, and that was the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Again, the law passed in 1870, 10 years after, 5 years after emancipation, but still you had rampant discrimination in America. You had Reconstruction that came in and essentially said, we're going to create another de facto slave class in this country, and we're going to take away their rights. And so they passed things like black code laws. They passed things like laws that essentially said that black code laws were enough. Black code laws that essentially said we have a right to discriminate against black Americans because Negroes at the time, because they don't have proper status. Many courts throughout the South and throughout the United States deemed that black Americans were not full citizens based off of the Dred Scott ruling. So the Civil Rights Act came to remedy that.
What are we talking about right now?
Oh, we're talking about that. We're talking about Abraham getting bodied by Sig, even though Abby's not even on stage, which is fucking wild. Imagine what would be happening if Abby was up here.
Abraham, I have a couple questions for you then. One, because this is one of the reasons Charlie Kirk was objecting to this whole thing. Do you think it is more difficult for a black person to get an ID than it is a white person? Because I don't think black people are incapable like that. And then the second thing I'm asking you is, do you think it's okay for men to be in women's restrooms? Because that's the other reason why Charlie Kirk was saying, that the thing is too broad, that the intent was good, but it was way too broad, it needed to be narrowed down, and to protect people's rights from discrimination, he's all for that, but not to have men in women's spaces and not to be like, I can't get an ID because of my race, which is ridiculous, because that's a normal thing that anyone can get.
Go ahead, Abraham.
He's got a chat GPT.
Abby, come on. I know you're busy.
She's on the phone or something.
Hey, this is Alan.
Go ahead, Alan. You hardly hour. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, okay. I'm in a public space, so I'm just going to say this, and then I'll be listening. You know what the biggest thing that Charlie Kirk said that was wrong, according to everybody else, it was that he told conservatives that they could feel good about being conservatives. He told young people that they could feel good about questioning the messages of the left, and that they didn't have to believe they were bad people because they were conservative. That's the thing that the left hated the most about it. And now that he's dead, you see the left, you see the Democratic Party going into overdrive, trying to convince us that we shouldn't feel bad that he was assassinated, that we shouldn't feel bad about what he said. In the House of Representatives, there was a bill that said that would have condemned the assassination of Kirk and that condemned political violence. 58 Democrats voted against it. Fuck them. They're standing on the side. They hate the conservatives, and they hate him so much that they're willing to endorse political violence.
And that's true. And
that's it. That's
but Jasmine Crockett even went on.
I don't care. Okay, just let me say this because I can't do any back and forth. The bottom line is this. Look at my PTR. It has a quote from Dostoevsky in the 1800s where he says, if you disagree with the left, they will attack you viciously. They did it then. They're still doing it now. Charlie Kirk was a good person. And guess what? I got a special message for Black Americans. If you are a Black liberal, okay, you're not going to convince us that he was a bad person. You're not going to convince us that we are bad people because we are conservative. So talk about Dred Scott, talk about the 400 years, piss and moan, do anything you want. It ain't gonna work. We are good people.
Already, you're anti-black like Charlie Kirk.
No, hold on. Okay, hold on.
I'm done.
So Abraham, you want to bitch and say, you see, here's the thing. Charlie Kirk believed in the Constitution. He was a Christian man. He went to church. You know, I can't say I did that. He was a much better man than me, a much nicer man. I think he's a kind, gentle man. Now, I personally, he would pray for you people. Maybe he would, I don't know. But he would want civil discourse with you guys. That's what he'd want to do. But like, I'm somebody who would want to take you, Abraham, and put you in the gulag and make you eat snails and make you your life a living hell. Why? Because I understand how you people think, and you people hate us. And I personally would want to do horrible things that I cannot say on this app to you people. And when I say you people, I'm talking about you people on the left. I don't really grant you much of your
because hate.
Any of the shit that you say. No, it's not hate. It's not hate. It's not hate. No, it's because you. How do you deal with hateful people like you? You just fucking gulag them, make them face a wall. It's just they get rid of them.
I mean, you're talking about hateful, Abraham, and you make justifications why it's okay to Charlie.
Well, I was actually just joking. I don't want to do any of those things.
No, I'm just saying.
But there is a part of me that does. Okay, shut your fucking faggot mouth. Okay, thank you, Lon, whoever's muting him. Okay, I don't actually, that was me just like being edgy, but I will say this, like at the end of the day, I do think people like you are just hateful, rotten pieces of fucking shit that we have to deal with. And look, there are obviously hateful, unreasonable people on the far right, and you have them on the left. And, for so long, the left is kind of like, oh, well, they're in our camp. We'll just kind of just like ignore what they say. And you kind of see how it's like backfired on a lot of people on the far left, especially like all of these baggy secular Jews that were like, oh, yeah, white supremacy's bad. Gays, yay! They're doing all this shit. Then all of a sudden, October 7th happens, and then what ends up happening? You Jews are bad. Oh, fuck you. Oh my God, why are they doing this to me? It's like, I don't know. Why did you stupid faggots fund them? And now you have to deal with the consequence. And now your faggot sons and daughters have to deal with getting harassed in college. Well, why did you do it? Like, you retards wanted to ride that dragon and bitch about anti-Semitism afterwards. Amazing. But no, and this isn't all Jews. It's like, I'm talking about the secular, faggy, left-wing Jews, not the other ones. But, you do get this, you get people like you. Pete, there is no reason why a moral person should ever have an alliance with somebody like you. Like, you're, and I mean this, and I'm being sincere when I say this, like, you are a piece of fucking shit. You will. I've never heard you have like a good faith debate the whole time I've been on this fucking app. I mean, even what's really funny is that as pro-black as you are, you're somebody who end up whatever black room you're in, you end up getting moved to the audience, shouted out.
There's a difference.
Okay, so let's just put a name on it, like Lou Fax. You can go into his room.
Not a Pan-African.
And he's mostly.
He's amazing. A Pan-African. We don't share the same political ideology.
But a lot of the FBA's amazing. But to be fair,
that's why they don't rock with me. You Maza Caribbeans, you know this.
Okay, amazing. The FBA's don't fuck with you either. You're acting like you're acting like I don't, because I'm not black. I don't understand all of these nuances, and I don't see how the other black people that are even FBA, how they treat you. They think you're an obnoxious, hateful piece of shit.
They love what I say. They love my rhetoric, my political ideology.
They don't.
Absolutely.
You and Dr. You and Dr. Articulate.
I support freedom.
Okay. You and Dr. Articulate are people that are wait.
Dr. Articulate is a
okay, all right. Amazing.
Blue Facts is a Pan-African.
Amazing. But you and Dr. Articulate are both people that the blacks, whether they're Pan-African, whether they're FBA, they'll let you in the room because you're a very loud, squeaky chew toy, and they just want to bite on it and bite on it. It's entertaining and people watch, but they don't like you. Like you're somebody that even like your own people think is a fucking cancer. They look at you as like you're not widely accepted by them even, which is really fucking weird. And this has been the case for years. Like you act like I don't know who you are. You know who I am. I have a different name, but we all know you know who I am. But you're not. You're somebody who just like. Why is it that your own people, the FBAs and the Pan-Africans, but the majority of blacks, they listen to you and they don't like you?
All right, can I get in the queue?
You haven't even been in FBA spaces to make that kind of term. I literally have been in reparation FBA
I was
spaces.
friends with all of them. I'm friends with all of them on Twitter, you fucking dipshit.
Friedman love me, dipshit. I'm on X. I'm on X in Friedman spaces, you loser.
I'm friends with all of them.
Friedman movement. I meet up with people in the Friedman movement, you loser. The only motherfuckers that hate me on Clubhouse is Pan-African motherfuckers, but that's neither here nor there. I'm a better human being than Charlie Kirk because you would never hear me say that there must be a number of people that we should be accepting.
What would the FBAs? What would the FBAs say? What would be the FBAs? Okay. Okay, you stupid fuck. What do the FBAs? What if the FBAs? By the way, I'm friends with all of them on Twitter, and a lot of them were on Clubhouse at one point in time. I'm just curious. What did they say about Charlie? What did they say about Charlie Kirk?
Will never laugh at children in Gaza getting bombed like Charlie Kirk did. You will never see me. I support the state of Israel, but you will never hear me laugh at children getting bombed like Charlie Kirk did. So I'm a much better human being.
Where did Charlie Kirk laugh? Hold on. No, because you're being a slimy faggot again. Where did Charlie Kirk laugh? Where did Charlie Kirk laugh at children being bombed in Gaza? Okay. Either post the fucking facts or it did not happen. No, he would not do that. Okay, show. He did not. I would not picture him saying stupid Muslims either. Show